Is it a country for young men or only for old men, at least where employment opportunities are concerned? This morning, joining me to take that conversation forward, I have Enoch, Diana, Edwin, and Deline. Edwin, I cut you short just before we went on the break.
Cut me short. I was looking at this. Olive, we are in the world of digitalization today, and for such an organization to run and grow very fast, okay, let me just ask you a simple question. Probably your grandma, because what you're looking here is a grandma who's sitting in an office. Your grandma right now, if you tell her to use the phone to probably create some strategic ways of how you can do, or just go and sit down, sit down and just use your laptop and create some strategic ways on how you're going to globalize national employment for every youth in every county to be aware. Some people don't even know this thing exists, by the way, to make matters worse. So if you tell your grandma today to do that, do you think she can do it? I guess it's a no. At some point, it's a definite no. And this is the same kind of a person you're looking at. We're looking at all the people who cannot come up with a strategic way or even means. Actually, take for example KRA right now. KRA is struggling on how to build a way that is going to deal with digitalizing, charging you, that is as a YouTube channel which is being paid by YouTube. It's looking for a way to charge all the people that are working on the digital market. Now that is KRA, for instance, which is really working hard to come up with a way that's going to charge that. How? With this old lady, I don't know how she handles her stuff when it comes to digital whatever. And how will she be able to make and create a very good awareness for such kind of an organization, which is looking at dealing with all national youth, every county? We need someone who can be able to get into every space, use both digital, use both ground, and reach to all these people. Yes, we understand that every county has a way that reaches to their youth, but this is something that needs more extra energy. She doesn't have the energy for such kind of thing.
Okay, but what of those people who say, you know, she's in an advisory capacity, that the technical aspects of that, what you're talking about, will be done by a management team? Great.
Now, I'm going to go to this. You know, it comes from a leader. You oversee something. I understand. She can oversee. But the question is, what are the recommendations? One of them was HR. Is she in a capacity and capability to be able to assign that person, you run this, you run that, you run this? I don't think she's in that capacity. Because you're looking at someone, see, this is something that has been there for only 3 years. It's something that everyone is expecting, and they've been expecting to have at least, let's say even 5,000 youth jobs, or even 5,000 is a lot. Let's say 1,000, create 1,000 youth jobs. Now, even if she's going to oversee, we are looking at the capability to appoint someone. Appoint this one to run. I don't think she's in that capacity. I don't think she's able to do that kind of appointment, which is what we need. HR is the number one thing. She doesn't have the experience for 7 years. I don't think we should say even 2 years. That is someone who's just been in politics as an MP.
Okay. Deline, what has been your experience? Did you know, when you left school, did you first seek out employment before getting into entrepreneurship?
Yes, definitely. I tried to seek employment just like any other Kenyan. You know, we have this culture. You graduate, you tarmac, and you say tarmacking has become a norm now. You meet your friends out there, me bado na tarmac, and it will continue like that over and over again. And I feel, let's not even talk about Mary Wamboi's issue. Let's just talk about simple things like in reference to just the concluded census. That opportunity, I believe, was meant for the youth, or rather most youths. But who did you see in our houses coming to do the census? How many youths did you see lining up and applying, and their applications being rejected or being thrown even in the trash? So many. So I feel we need a strategy, even as the youth. How do we come up with these opportunities ourselves instead of waiting for the government? So as the youth, we need to strategize, come up with these strategies, come up with these initiatives, present them to the government, tell them this is what we want, and we can work from there.
Okay. How long did you tarmac?
Around 3 years.
All right.
You're still tarmacking?
Yes, well, I'm still tarmacking.
Okay, so at what point did you decide, okay, I can't just, I can't just keep sending CVs. I need to start actively doing something, even, as you say, you search for a job. At what point did you make that decision?
The moment I realized that I will always keep waiting and waiting, and that was the turn back point, and I decided, you know what, I need to make something for myself. So I decided to come up with a company myself. It's a mental health consultancy and training firm, and I'm working towards that together with my colleague, because this government is just a joke.
When you say mental health consultancy, what does that mean?
Well, I run an organization with my colleague. It's called Your Mind Matters. It's a mental health consultancy and training firm. Basically, what we do, we promote mental health, well-being, and resilience, not only in the workplace, even in the society at large. We also go to schools. For instance, in schools, we offer training to teachers, mental health literacy, how they can spot mental health disorders among the students, what approaches to take and how to help the students. We also do training for the students, how to identify mental health issues amongst themselves. And also, we do training on how to identify learning disabilities, or students who have learning disabilities for teachers.
Is that what you studied in university?
Yes.
All right. It sounds like a noble endeavor.
Yes.
And what was it like trying to get that business on the ground? Were you able to get any assistance from government?
Definitely not. I'm actually struggling my way up with it, because nobody's there to give us capital as they use. So you have to be creative yourself and come up with the capital, come up with the ideas, come up with the proposals and the concepts, you know. So generally, for organizations, we do employee assistance program, critical incidents debriefing, and trauma, generally for productivity, as far as the organizations are concerned.
All right, we should engage you further when we're dealing with mental health as a subject matter. Enoch.
Yes.
You're a graduate student.
Yes, I'm a graduate student.
Now, when you get into the job market, or when you decide to go into business for yourself, there are those who argue that you may not want to start from the bottom up. You'll say, I have a master's degree, and therefore minimum salary I should get is at least, okay, I don't know what the market rate is, but then you'll say, no, I don't want to start like in the storeroom, say, if that is the job that is available. I want to start in a management, entry-level management position.
Which is not going to happen anyway. You know, I'm so shocked on what I continue hearing, the narrative in our education system that has imprisoned us into go to school, read your books, go out there, search for a job, wear your tie, you know, smile with a suit early in the morning, and, you know, make people proud in the working areas. Let me turn this into a different perspective from what experience has given us. When I was doing my undergrad, I started actually doing a certain job in, along Mombasa Road as I don't know, packing bottles in a certain company, and I was earning actually 15,000. That is when I was still an undergrad. My actually career and vision that I had was actually to be an anchor and work in the media house, a radio presenter or something like that. So I thought, how would I achieve this then? So I went and looked for a job. This job was paying me 15,000 shillings. Then when I was an undergrad, I did not see the badness of earning just 15,000. I thought, let me just get into that job, earn that money, just go and save a little bit and even finish my school and do other things. So the youth out there think there are jobs, but when you get into this job, you will feel, by the way, you're not paid enough. You will just quit, or retrenchment will catch up with you and you will leave. So thereafter, I continued looking for opportunities as well, and then I hit into a good corporate institution, yes. And well, I worked for quite a while, patience pays, we see people coming in, out, others growing the ladder, up the ladder, and you're stagnant there. So what happened is, I just thought, maybe the skills I had then, did really not matter a lot where I was, because I didn't see myself growing. I didn't see myself being promoted. I didn't see myself earning a better salary than I was there. So what else? Go back to school and try and enrich your skills. Yes. Okay. So that's exactly what I did. So going back to school, number one, somehow leaves me in a situation that I really don't know what my future looks like. But then what gives me hope, like Chinua Achebe sometimes said that the world is like a mask dancing. So if you want to see it from another perspective, you don't need to stay where you are. You just have to turn around. So then if I thought that these skills cannot really give me the job that I wanted, let me go back to school and see what happens. But what gives me hope more, and even the youth out there who are listening to us right now, this is a platform that has brought us not just to rant, not just to make noise and say, you know, the government doesn't really take care of us. I mean, there are no jobs, corporate institutions cannot, you know, take care of us in terms of what skills we have. Yes, they're looking for skills. God forbid, I don't know where they will get them from, because every time you go for a job interview, they will tell you, we will call you after 2 weeks. So this is what I like to encourage the person who is listening to me, who is our youth. We are the majority, by the way, and we are so shocked that it's only 2 billion that was approved and allocated to the Biashara Kenya Fund that merged the youth enterprise, women enterprise, and all those ways of funds. I mean, just 2 billion for 85% population is not really justifiable. So let us start innovating our own thing. Social media has given us a platform, you know, to interact, engage. As much as we're also fearing that the government is also looking for other strategies of, you know, taxing highly what we're starting now doing, because they're saying, yes, we are thriving online, on YouTube. I mean, influencers, social media, socialites, I mean, social media content creators, digital marketers. These are the only jobs actually we have hope for in the future. Otherwise, if the government continues again now, you know, looking for strategies of even taxing us, then what do we have left? There's nothing. So just try and create something for yourself. I mean, social media has a lot for us. We can make more money. Go online writing, social media content.
That's
come
encouraging,
on.
yeah, but just not fake news. Okay, Jim Kitch Langat has this to say. This Uhuru handshake, government has nothing to offer the youth, just the old and some even illiterate. Bure kabisa maajabu. Now let's add more voices to this conversation. Let's listen in to Janet Nyamwamu in Kisii County. Let's hear what the youth in that county have to say on job opportunities available to them.
Well, I'm here in Kisii where we have a crisis in youth unemployment, and I'm here with the youth, the CEC for youth, who is handling the youths who come to his office every now and then to seek for opportunities, and he's been handling them in a great way, and he's going to tell us about the youth unemployment in Kisii.
Thank you very much. My name is Duke Mainga Echate. I'm the CEC for Youth and Sports Kisii County. I'm privileged to have you today this morning, and there is a major issue on the topic that you've raised on youth and unemployment. Honestly speaking, there are challenges, and it's across the country. It cuts across the country, and I'm here this morning to give my view on as far as this issue is concerned. First, I think as a country we've failed on planning. Because when you wake up one morning and you realize that the appointments on the elderly in this country, people have served this country for so very many years, people have made a fortune through the government and the governments that have ever existed, it's quite unfortunate and kind of a mockery to the youth. So I'm urging, or rather I'm advising His Excellency the President, because what it calls down to idiosyncrasy, or rather the characteristics of the man at the top, the kind of decisions he makes, right? Kindly, this is the time. We have a very, very good constitution that is youth friendly, but we've not been able to implement. And eventually what happens, young people are getting radicalized. At the end of the day, they're going to be extremists, and there's no way you can run with youth resources. Because eventually what will happen, the government will be forced to invest more on security, invest more on prisons, because there'll be an increased, or rather increased rate of criminals within the country. So it's quite painful. There's a lot of noise in social media, and I think this is the time that the youth should come together and fight for their space within this country. Yes. As
the youth CEC in Kisii County, what advice can you give the youth who come to your office asking for opportunities?
All right. Sometimes you can imagine, for instance, today we have more than 2,000 young people graduating from Kisii Polytechnic. It's very, very painful and merciful when I see it as a young leader thinking of the kind of challenges, those who are still existing, those who come to my office on every day to seek for opportunities which for sure do not exist. And even the kind of bureaucracies that are within the government financing institutions that discourage young young people. So majority of young people within this county or within the country are just loitering within. They're doing nothing. For sure, it's a major crisis, and all of us need to start talking about this. But at the end of the day, the man who makes the decision is the man at the top. If today the president said that for sure the resources that we're having, majority of the resources will be directed towards creating opportunities, creating favorable job employment opportunities for young people, everybody will follow suit. Yes.
Thank you, Duke. As you've heard, the government will be faced with a crisis, and it will have to invest more on insecurity and on prisons, as the CCA has said. From Kisii County, I'm Janet Nyamwamu.
All right, thank you, Janet. Now, we're also getting views off of social media. I've talked about getting more adding more voices to this conversation. And there's a gentleman here, one second, by the name of Just Stephen. He says this, he is referring to the Public Service Commission drive to recruit interns into government ministries, departments and agencies. And he says this is also a noble initiative by the presidency to correct the ills of graduate unemployment, providing youth with much needed job skills and increasing the chances of employability. Because we've talked about, you know, you go apply for a job, you're told, okay, do you have the experience? One of my producers, Ruth Munyi, has told me to ask, you know, what about the youth who say they will not participate or they will not intern unless they're paid to intern? What do you say of those youth?
Wow, that's a really good question. You know, it's good that that question has come up, only because I think it's we as young people sometimes tend to be very, I think, ambitious in what we want or what we expect to get from society, and we expect things to be handed to us. And that hasn't really been the journey for most people, and even most successful people in the business sector. Now, having that caveat and you have no reasonable ability or showcased ability for you to deliver on any task is totally ridiculous. We also need to call ourselves out on that. And I think we had another session on youth and employment at the University of Nairobi, and one of the professors was telling us that by the time a student is in second year, he must be an apprentice or an intern in an organization where, remember, the people there, when you're asking for these opportunities, they're not machines. If you talk to them and tell them that you're in this, you're doing this course, which is in line with what your life mission is, and then you've only done first year and this is what you've learned so far, and you'd like to do ABCD, most likely when people hear that story, they're most willing to give you a chance. So it's not about delivering your CV and then walking away. Push harder, stay there and say, can I see at least any manager, you know, in this department? You push yourself hard and then you get attached to someone. The internship policy right now, it's 3 months and you can renew it once, which means you have a chance of being in an organization for 6 months. You cannot say, let's say if you've not graduated, that you must be paid something for internship. So remember, the solution that we're proposing now is that even in your second year or third year, get an internship position. Get attached to at least a manager or anyone in any department. Whether it's even messenger service, do it, do something. I remember, you know, I could say from experience when I made a deal with an organization that I went to, and I told them, I don't even want to be paid, because I could tell that they don't have funds to afford having an intern. But I say to them, as long as you can give me, after my 3 months of work, some recommendation letter, that is now what will help you get something else, because that recommendation letter will encompass what you are able to deliver, not what your degree and masters and diplomas and certificates say. No, what are you able to do? Now, I've also worked in the media industry and I've been a general manager, and we recruited people. I would tell you that in the media industry, we're looking at cameramen, soundmen, and all these people. And trust me, your degree, your fancy degree, will not be what we're interested in. We'll put you to the task and we'll take you to the field. What is your attitude there? Are you able to pull cables, help the camera people, help, you know, are you able to do more than just, let's say, that task that you've said? So that just being a wholesome person, having the right attitude, being willing to help, keeping time, the ethics that you had asked about, those are the values that will make you employable. Skills you can build up on them later. And I guarantee you that, young people, please listen. Skills you can build up, I mean, the paperwork you can follow later. Have that willingness attitude. For example, the young man is saying he has a company. And say, for example, you get a partner to make an order for, several things. When you're looking for someone to employ, will you look for the papers, or will you look for a young person who is willing to work, willing to learn? And even right now as we are, and we always have opportunities that we present as Youth Agenda again. Our yes, in as much as we do have certain minimum thresholds we require, but above that, we also need the right attitudes, the right willingness to work. And don't focus on money. When you're still young, focus on what you're gaining from these experiences. There you're able to then negotiate better. Because nowadays, most people are working on performance contracts or contracts that end in 1 year and you have to renew it. And by the time it comes to renewals, we do an appraisal. Who are you as a person? Are you someone that people enjoy working with? If we brought another intern to work with you, are you able to interact with them well? What are your attitudes? Are you arrogant or are you humble? So these are the things that, again, you won't get from school. So the whole reforms that need to be initiated in our country also need to start with us, in our households. If you live with your siblings, or you live with your children, or your brothers and sister, or whoever you live with, are you being honest with them and telling them what the reality out there is? We need to be the ambassadors of the change that we want to see in the world. Okay. So I do think that the interns would be, the young people would be totally disillusioned to imagine that you'd come somewhere and start let's say, demanding for how much you want to be paid, when I cannot see the skills that you have, or the attitude you're bringing, or the willingness to engage and deliver on your tasks. All
right, before I come to you, Edwin, just let's get some views from Melita, from interviews that Melita Oletenges will carry out shortly. Melita, what do the youth in your county have to say about job opportunities and employment creation in the country?
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Olive. We are coming to you from Nyeri, and of course, unemployment among the youth has evoked a heated debate across the country, and it's no different here in Nyeri. Considering the recent appointments by the government, it has caused an uproar among the youths. We've been speaking to a number of youths in the week, and at the moment, I'm just going to get some of the sentiments regarding what they feel about the unemployment situation here in Nyeri. And remember, a number of youths, particularly here in Nyeri, have gone to school, they've graduated, spending a lot of money, but coming to seek for employment, it has become a hurdle, because they end up just finding mere jobs just to get a living and just sustain themselves in the town. But really, so many youths are just tarmacking in different offices, different shops, just looking for anything to do, put their hands on, and earn a living. I'm going to speak to a number of youths here just to tell us what they feel about the unemployment situation here in Nyeri. Thank you so much for joining us. Pengine ukianza na jina lako, uko live on NTV, kisha uniambie unahisi vipi kuhusu unemployment katika nchi hii.
Kwa majina mimi naitwa Harrison Mureithi, mimi ni mkazi hapa Nyeri. Kusema mambo ya youth, serikali inatufinyilia sana, because unaona sasa hivi wameweka wazee, na wazee ndio wanastahili kuwa na retire. Sisi vijana ndio tunastahili kuwa opportunity, because tuko na idea. Sasa wazee mwenye amekaa nyumbani hana idea. Sasa wewe ni kukula tu pesa tu. Ningeomba tu serikali, President Uhuru mwenye wana advice, angalie mambo ya youth, because youth wakikosa kazi wanaanza kupiga geta. Sasa hata mimi niko na haso, natafuta kazi, naenda kwa gava, unaambiwa hakuna kazi, alafu kuna pitisho mlango ya nyuma ndio upate kazi. Sasa inakuja hivyo, then hiyo kazi unasikia imeisha. Lakini tunaona kwa serikali watu wako na magari kubwa wanaiba, na sisi vijana ndio tunaumia, na sisi ndio tuliwachagua. Sasa kuliko tuangalia, alituambia kitu kwanza kiingia kwa kiti atatushughulia kama sisi vijana tupate kazi. Lakini sasa hii kazi siku hizi hatuzioni. Tunashukuriwa na wazee.
Thank you so much. Let me speak to another one here. Thank you for joining us on NTV. Maybe start with your name. Tell us, what do you feel about the recent appointments by the government, and as much as the youth in the country are looking for jobs?
So, my name is Kihara Njau, and according to this appointment, the president, through his advisors, has appointed old guards. We are here, we are youth, we have degrees, we have the capacity, but the president, I can't blame the president, I blame the advisors, because state corporation, we can handle, but we are always told that we are leaders of tomorrow. My question is, when is this tomorrow coming? So I'm not happy at all, and I think the president, it's not too late those other appointments, he should include youth or youthful people.
And this is a government you voted for, and probably they had so many promises concerning the youth specifically, saying that they're going to be given jobs, they're going to reduce the number of youth who don't have jobs in the country. Probably you as a person, what do you think of the promises that the government made to the country and the youth in particular?
I can just term them as fake promises, because 3 years down the line, we are not seeing any change. What we are seeing the old guard accumulating a lot of wealth, and we going deep into poverty.
Thank you so much. Those are just some of the sentiments from the youth here in Nyeri, just speaking about what they feel about this unemployment situation. And remember, you've heard some of them complaining about the promises that the government made during the last campaign, and they're saying that they feel they've been sidelined as much as this unemployment situation is in the country. Now I'm going to hand over you to my colleague Martin Mwaura in Murang'a. Martin, what do the residents of Murang'a say about this?
Thank you so much, my friend and colleague from Nyeri, Melita Olitingis. You have had very different views from the people of Nyeri. Now we just want to talk to the people of County 021 here in Murang'a. Each and every year we are seeing universities churn students, or even we can call them youth with various degrees, even others with masters. But most of them keep on trekking, complaining that there are no jobs. Yet we know that this country, we are being told that the economy is growing, investors are setting up base income. But we just want to get from the people of Murang'a what is happening in this country. Why so many youths, somebody has a master's, somebody has a degree, but he's a boda rider. Others are just doing other hawking business here in the country, despite investing so much in the education. Let me start by a gentleman over here. Welcome to NTV. Nataka tu nianzie kwa majina yako na unieleze, why do you think we have such high rate of unemployment among the youth in this country?
Okay, there is Mugambi Eric is my name. Okay, I work with Murang'a County government. There is incompetency. There is lack of proper skills. There is lack of okay, there are so many, just mention a few. Lack of humility, patience. You have no experience. You have just left the campus or the college that you've been schooling. You have not gained the experience. The employer cannot just cannot just recruit you into any field. First of all, maybe you need to start from somewhere. But majority of the youths are not giving into that particular offer. You just want to start from above. And it is not possible. Even those people who are getting actually employed at their old age, though we are saying it is free and fair for the government not to come down to 55 years as the retirement age, which is very okay. From my own opinion, it is very okay. But it is not possible because most of the guys do not understand that there is patience, resilience.
Maybe, do you think maybe some of the courses that are being offered in these colleges and higher learning institutions, do you think maybe we can call them in quotes bogus courses that are not marketable? That is why so many youths are tarmacking or trekking.
Well, yeah, if I actually go back to the current CS education, CS, Professor Magoa, he said, there are people without the know-how, how technical skills are important in the country today. Because one, okay, there's something that it is called the overrated degree mentality. You called it the overrated degree mentality. The overrated degree mentality that you are going to do a degree, but apparently you stay without a job. It is not your fault. Okay, it is maybe inadequate know-how. We don't know the impact of this course. But if you went and did probing, maybe you did something technical. The job market it's at stake, but it depends on what you pursued, the skills you have in life, the competency.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Let me talk to another gentleman over here. Just join us here and tell me, why do you think so many of the youths in this country are tamaking despite having relevant documents or papers?
Ningependa kusema ya kwamba wanafunzi ambao wamemaliza university wanatamak huku nje is just because of they lack knowledge. You can create your own job opportunity. You can't wait for an opportunity to knock at your doorstep. You don't have to sit there. You have to do something. Each and every day you should think of a new idea. Go create your own job, because in this current world that we are living, technology keeps changing. You need to go with the technology. If there is no job, go create your own job.
Maybe do you think maybe we are choosy in what we do? Maybe somebody is talented in something, but our parents are forcing us to follow. You know, they have that mentality of soma uandikwe, yet somebody can reap, because we see talent such as sports is paying. Maybe what is your take on that?
I think somehow most people go in that direction, but for our parents we need to tell them that this is a new generation. You don't have to learn for you to get a job. You can be having papers in your house, but at the end you don't have work. You can create your own, you can become a motorbike rider, as long as you get food to feed your family, yourself, and life goes on.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. Olive, those are just some of the few views I've managed to grab from the residents of Murang'a. And they're saying that do not choose, you have to start somewhere. Do not start from the treetop, just start below and you'll slowly be up there. Don't be choosy. Back to you, Olive.
Interesting views coming out of Nyeri County first, and then let's take it straight over to Martin Mora in Murang'a in what I considered very swanky. But we had that gentleman in Nyeri County who said, you know, the youth are constantly told you are the leaders of tomorrow. He wanted to know when is this tomorrow coming, and that elicited some laughter from my panel. And then there's that gentleman we've had from in Murang'a who works for the county government, and he says, you know, the problem is incompetency on the part of the youth. He says they do not have the relevant skills and that they have this overrated mentality as far as their degrees are concerned. Edwin, I'd like to come to you. And you know, the guy in Murang'a talked about how the second gentleman who was interviewed in Murang'a County, and he said, you know, nobody's going to come and hand you an opportunity. You're going to have to grab it. So how did you make the transition from saying, okay, I'm done with tamaking, or even as I tamak, I need to have to, quote unquote, hustle?
Okay, well, Olive, let me speak to the majority youth out there who have not gone to the university, who have not saved their foot in college, because that was my story, and those guys who have started from nothing. Well, I've started from hawking, just normal things. I used to struggle with city council here, hawking things. You're running up and down on the road. And then I went to cooking chapati on the streets, selling 10 bob, making very little money. And the gradual growth. So, well, the moment I cleared high school, I come from a family where we were not able to do much. I wasn't able to go to college or anything. So I had to look for an opportunity immediately. So what I did was I ran to all the youth offices, trying to get a job here and there. Rent to this. I am very idealistic. I'm gifted with that, and I thank God. That's why I went to run to learn how to be a strategic person and run companies. And
okay, when you say youth organizations, could you name a few?
Let me start from my county. I ran to Machaud, nullified, nothing, didn't get anything. I went to Uwezo Fund to get some funding for something. I didn't get anything. I went to the Ministry of Youth and said, I'm capable of doing 1, 2, 3, but the fact that I didn't have a degree in my papers, I didn't have anything, they didn't give me the opportunity. So I had to go to the private sector. At that time, you're running, let me talk about this young person who is really trying to look for a job and who is really struggling, and they reach a point they say, yes, you mentioned that they shouldn't ask for money, but trust me, you've worked in an intern somewhere for somebody. According to the 48 laws of power, you use people to shine, but they don't shine. Now, this is what most leaders use. You have worked for somebody, internship, you have done your 4 months, 5 months, they're not giving you anything. They don't know where you get your fare to go to that office. They don't know what you did get to eat. And then at the end of the time, they tell you you're not qualified to work with us, and they give you a recommendation. You've made them shine. You've used your yet you existed, and this person has not helped you.
And there's actually a gentleman on Twitter who agrees with you. His handle is at KE Cheza, and he says it is naive to expect someone to intern or work for free, yet they have to make their way to your organization every day for the 3 months or so. Let's be honest, it is impossible to work for free for just experience. Crazy.
Let's be realistic. I'm coming to intern with you when you are actually I'm coming to intern in a huge organization. What am I going to do? I'm going to be using and existing all my skills to build this company and to keep making the CEO, whoever it is at the top, shine while I'm suffering. I can't come ask you for fare because it says clearly I should not be able. So if you're being paid, the company I'm coming to intern for is running. Come on, let's be realistic. These young people need something. Put someone, even if it's 5,000, transportation cost done. Because I'm looking at a position, I was running all these things, and then I said, none, enough is enough. I'm not going to be a knocker in this city anymore. I'm not going to continue selling chapati, and I'm not going to work for nobody. So I decided, fine, I can hawk. What else can I do? I can create more businesses. And yes, I went to the next level and started knowing how to run businesses. Funny enough, I created my own things.
Oh, so what are you doing? What are you doing now? Right
now, I'm what they call a strategist. So what I do is I pick a company from the ground and I build up to the next level. It's a field that has rare people. So I'm good in employing. I'm good in choosing the right people to sit in whatever position they have to sit in. And well, with that, I've run a number of companies. So I normally just pick a specific position. I pick a company that is growing and I run it to the next level. But at the same time, I have my 1, 2, 3 businesses of mine that I run here and there. One that deals with CCTV security installation, and the other one is dealing with supplements where we are trying to help people.
So it's not true that the youth are crybabies, Deline?
No, they do. They're not, but at some point it is. Because of the pain, the scratch point to start with.
Okay. I'll ask you to respond first and then I'll come to you.
Yes. I just wanted to briefly point out that, yes, I do agree. I mean, as youth agenda, remember we are an institution. We have volunteer interns. We call them volunteer interns because, honestly, when you're compensating between 5 to 10,000 shillings, you don't consider that pay. That is just allowance to enable them at least be able to buy lunch and also come. It's 2019. No one can do that, and I like the fact that you actually said before you graduated or you didn't have a degree. The reason is there are many young people who are not in employment, not in education, and not in training. So what about those young people? Do we really assume that when they're saying 86% of the unemployed population, we're actually talking about people with degrees? No. So then that means that we need to have systemic reforms that also include the people who do not have the papers that we so call for. And remember, personally as an employer, I'm not mesmerized by papers. Yes, I did have to get papers because we were fighting and we wanted to get to the next level. Now that we've gotten there, then what are we doing to pull everybody up? How about we saying that a requirement for this, let's say, position or opportunity for a young person should be the experience in ABCD, and experience cannot be nullified. So my point in just interjecting was that, yes, I'm not saying that don't give the young people at least even fair to get to work. But then again, let's not have the young people expect and demand, because if you do that, then you won't even get that opportunity to start with. If you won't even get that small apprenticeship or internship in an organization. You know, if you focus your mind on getting the experience, And yes, this is we call upon all employers. You can't have someone come in and go out, even if it's just messenger services. Because most interns, again, you won't be given the high HD equipment, the Sony PMWs and whatever to handle. You'll be given a small, those other cameras that even if you mess something up, they can be replaced. So for you to actually humbly get to that level where you're being given more work and more responsibility, then there is no employer who will also give you that big responsibility and not give you compensation. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Deline, you know, how do you get over, or do the Kenyan youth need to get over the serikali tusaidia attitude?
Well, definitely we should. We actually need we need a mind shift as far as employment, or rather youth employment is concerned. And in the spirit of internship, just like Diana has said, I feel definitely the youth have to be compensated for the transport, of course, and for the meals they have here and there. But actually, you'd be surprised to know that for you to intern in some of these organizations, you actually pay them to intern there. So this kind of an intern, you're supposed to pay, like in my field, in the psychology field, when you go to intern, you pay to intern there. So such kind of a person, where do I get the transport?
I had the same experience at KBC, actually. We had to pay them.
Because, well, fine, I am, as much as, yes, as this intern, fine, you're very intentional with what you want, and bottom line, you're there because you need the experience. But after I pay this organization, how do I go to work? What do I eat? You see, how do I commute, basically? So I think these are some of the things that then we need to review. And probably, like, I think I can commend the government. Recently, I saw they started doing waivers for interns in companies. So such an initiative, if they can hold on to that, then it can be good progress for us.
All right. Yeah. Okay, so let me just read out a couple of tweets. Overtaxation is killing industries and small businesses where youth seek to venture. We need favorable policies and tax rates to encourage SMEs. I think you brought that up. Enoch, and your university actually is really proud of you for being here. They've tweeted that yes, we are proud to have Enoch Masaki, digital communication graduate student, as one of the panelists to discuss youth unemployment on NTV Today. All right. We also have another tweet here, and this gentleman says it's sad this company called Kenya should be closed for renovations. And somebody else says there is no employment because the economy is not growing at a rate equivalent to our population growth. Let's not blame the youth. There are too many compared to opportunities out there. Create favorable policies for SMEs and lower tax rates. All right, Edwin.
Now, Olive, what I'm looking at is the pain all these young people are going through, because we are there. We are still trying to get into specific. Like, we have the capability to do it. Olive, how would I put it to you? Given a chance to run, for example, the NEA, I would be able to say, I can do it for a span of 6 months. There's this company called CEO for 6 months from the UK. If our country, Kenya, can take that example of CEO for 1 month or 2 months, it would be really easy to test these people. Like the youth offices. Take this youth, run for 1 month, another one come run for 1 month. Let's see your capabilities. This would really work well. And then another thing that is going to kill us completely is the double taxation. I understand that now we are the fifth, is it the fifth or seventh country, I don't know, that I think fifth or sixth, that is now introducing double taxation. So the people who are truly trying to set up businesses like us, now we are going to fight to handle the double taxation kind of a setup. That is challenging on our side. Double taxation is really hitting us high in this country. You're looking at me not paying. It is said if you're if you're making at least 5 million and above, or at least in a month 5 million, you have to pay 35%. So when you include the double taxation, where are we going to? So
you're saying basically creating a favorable economic environment is critical.
Completely.
All right.
From the government.
Okay, I want us to start making our concluding remarks as far as this subject is concerned. But let's get an update from the courts. The Malindi MP Aisha Juma and her bodyguard Geoffrey Kuto Otieno have been released on a 1 million shilling bond with a similar surety amount of 500,000 shillings. with a similar surety amount or a 500,000 shilling cash bail, and that to report to the Malindi DCIO on October the 22nd. Karim Rajan is in court. I'm sure on NTV Sasa we will get some pictures coming out of the court there, the Mombasa High Court. So let's transition back to the topic of this morning. Which way forward, Enoch?
Okay. When I was when I was taking the lift off your building, there's one of the values I read, continuous improvement and innovation. I don't know whether that's among of your values at NTV. This is what I'm telling the youth outside there. We don't have to wait for the government to do anything for us. We just don't have to continue ranting and saying, you know, we want them to allocate some funds, which will never happen. Like the gentleman from Nyeri said, when is this future coming? That is exactly what I'm asking myself. After graduating, where am I going to? Will I start again tammacking the same way I was tammacking when I was doing my undergrad? I mean, that is another thing that I'm figuring out how it's going to be. So this is what we ought to start doing. I love the power digital new media communication has given us. We currently do not have strict regulations other than the ones Edwin is talking about in terms of double taxation. I mean, let us not really be scared of what will come now that it hasn't been implemented also. Let us start creating ideas, and this is a platform that can go viral. Nowadays, just a small tweet of like what the KU student did last week. I mean, the other time when there was a strike in KU. I mean, that small video went viral so fast. I mean, how if that was an idea, an entrepreneurial idea? I mean, how if that was something that you're trying to advocate online and maybe trying to source for funds for your own idea? I mean, the youth in Kenya are very brilliant. They have ideas, but we're just so scared of going there and, you know, pitching and getting proposals to people who can fund, people who can actually donate and tell us, hey, if this is your idea, what do you want and why do you want it, you know, to happen this one in the future? Where do you see it? And then another suggestion I will be like, let us be guided by an entrepreneurial mind. Let us not be the guys who have papers and then we just have to go and drop CVs in every corporate institution every morning with our brown envelope and then expect, you know, manna to come from heaven. I mean, one, if you do not have connections, I am for sure telling the youth that you're not going to get this job. Kenya is a place of who do you know, not what do you have. I mean, I can assure you, not what you have.
You're saying that's been proven by the recent government appointments.
Exactly, that is what we're seeing on the newspaper. So just to give hope to the youth out there who are listening right now this morning is like, get the entrepreneurial idea, get the concept, go and pitch. You shall get somebody who likes it. You shall get somebody who wants to work with you, and that's how we are going forward. Okay. This is what I did when I thought that the skills I had were not really working. So I went back to graduate. I went into the radio studio where I said, let me just start practicing what I thought I never had. One, at least to push my career, because when I'll be coming, I'll tell you guys, you know, I need a job in a radio station. Where have you been doing this, you know? That is the skill I want. Secondly, I thought we need to go into food industry whereby, by the way, you will never go wrong in the food industry. Everybody eats. Every morning, in the afternoon, people eat.
All right.
So I said, let me just start selling honey. And that's what I'm doing right now.
Oh, you're selling honey now?
I'm selling honey.
Try some of that. I hope
Please
you try
do.
some. Diana,
So
I'm
that
going to
is
give
my
you,
advice
if we
to
can
the
limit
youth.
it to about 30 seconds each. Yes.
Sure. My closing remarks to this would be, again, like you're saying, what's the way forward? Just the solutions. And I'm thinking of curriculum revision, which is what is going on, employability and skill force. I'm thinking of number 2 being promoting supervised internships and apprenticeship. That cannot be overlooked. It has been a proven successful way of transforming a society. We also have supporting youths to create their own formal and informal employment opportunities. And finally, just a holistic programming that has unbiased approaches. The current state of affairs is that we have bias right from the executive, from the leadership of the country, bias against the young people, bias in calling young people thieves, and we're saying that has to stop. So let us have unbiased approaches to having holistic programming that actually incubate us to be the leaders of today and take over the mantle. The old people must go to rest.
Okay,
Yes.
wow.
Have
All
a
right, that
break.
was quite punchy.
Yes.
Edwin?
I have a saying that I apply into my life and all the people that I talk to on an everyday. It's simple as that. I tell my young friends, do not accept to be referred as the future leaders, because which day, which month, which year which generation are you going to be that leader if you're not given the opportunities? I mean, do we have a year or a month for you to be that future leader? We cannot keep being referred as future leaders when the opportunities that we can grow in under mentorship are not being given to us. So let's not accept this thing of being called future leaders. Let's, if we can't be given opportunities, start today. Take your chances. Do the impossible. Go, decide to start something of your own, and then let these people find you as a good leader when you have something tangible that you've been running by yourself, when you have something that you have accomplished by yourself.
Okay.
Just
all right, Deline, I'll leave you to have the last word on this.
Okay, first, as youth, we should realize that the future is now. The future is now. Secondly, let us work around with this mentality that nobody owes you anything. And by that, have a self-talk. Sit down, look at what you can do, what skills do you have, what changes can you make, and make something for yourself.